Tupac is alive, believe it or not. He's actually here with me right now. Talking, of course, about my personal project computer, Tupac. His name is Tupac because he is the second PC I've ever built for myself. You see, Pac was a hardworking, practical man. Oh, you thought I was talking about Tupac the rapper? Well, he's alive too, but who cares? He's just one of the most influential figures in hip-hop. This is a really cool computer. I've put in so much work over the past 8 years, completely reshaping and repainting the case, building a custom water cooling loop, and adding all the little aesthetic details. In fact, this is what the case looked like before I started working on it. But I never finished it. Once the computer was usable, I just lost motivation. And a few years later, Tupac just stopped working. And that is where our story begins, of how I brought my dead PC back to life, and how that inspired me to finally finish it after 8 years. I pulled out this little drainage port. It was stuck deep in there actually to pull the power supply out to make room. The power supply says it's okay to be high on pot. It's not okay to be high on other drugs, but pot is okay. So thanks for that PSA. Just to make sure the stream flows evenly, you can see I've taped up this little silly straw. It's not quite level, but it should work. Then here at the bottom, I've got this Beyblade battle arena.
Let's fight an epic battle. Face off and spin the metal. No time for doubt now. No place.
It's a huge pain in the ass to lift up this like 60-pound computer and twirl it around trying to get the fluid out. It doesn't obey the laws of gravity. Okay, so I'm gonna try something different. I'm gonna disconnect this top hose and we're gonna try draining it upside down.
But first, I had to get to it.
Holy shit.
After expertly removing the rear fan, I moved on to the ones on the top radiator.
Fuck! Fuck!
Removing the screws was easy and not frustrating at all.
Fuck! There we go. Oh yes. Oh my god, everything's so fucking dusty. Probably shouldn't even be breathing this shit in. Oh yeah.
The mask made the dust so much more bearable, even though it wasn't 100% effective.
Oh god, I hate sneezing in masks.
If only there was something you could take for immunity. You know, like COVID, I'm blanking on the word. Drinking your own piss. Yeah, that's it.
Why is it so tough to move? Am I fucking tightening it? I'm fucking tightening it! Oh, it's starting to leak. That's a good sign, right? I don't want to use pliers on it. Alright, fuck it, we're using pliers. I'm butchering that shit. Well, too late now. I could just try to rip the tube out. It wouldn't be the worst idea, but it would not be the best idea. Oh, there we go! Success, baby! And I definitely should paint this guy again. Now what? Yeah, that's what 3 years of open air will do to your radiator. So we're going to be using this very sophisticated tool that I made using a straw and hot glue. Hopefully not going to spill water all over my computer. Oh shit, it's fucking leaking. Oh no! Titan! That guy lucky it didn't go anywhere. Alright. So I think I'm done for tonight. We got a lot done today. One step closer to figuring out what the problem is. That is to say, there's no progress that we have made on understanding what the problem is. But we removed one barrier to figuring it out.
By this point, I had narrowed the issue down to a short. All that was left was figuring out where that short was.
Power supply's out now. This is the likeliest source of the problem if it's a short. We have some very high quality professional open solder joints wrapped with heat shrink and zip ties. These wires go to the pump. Got 2 wires going to the fluorescent lights. Also red LED strips that run behind the motherboard.
To try and isolate the short, I powered just that connector. If any of those things are getting power but not working, that's where the problem is.
Yeah, I can definitely smell something burning. So it's definitely something in here that's the problem. The pump was working fine. The rest of the lights, I think, were on. So I got good news and bad news. The bad news is that it smells like burnt ass in this whole area, and even trying to air it out with a fan, it didn't do anything. It still smells god awful. The good news is that I figured out where the short was. I could see smoke coming out of this, so it's somewhere in this LED strip. See if you can notice the short. Yeah. At least we figured out what the issue is. So for the time being, I'm still gonna run the pump and try to clean out as much of the old fluid as I can. No smoke.
Okay. Got isolated then, huh?
Yeah. Oh, I found the problem, all right. I'm pretty sure the short must have been grounding the LED strip to the case. What I don't know is whether I caused any permanent damage.
So to find out, I tried turning it on again, but this time without the bonus electricity.
Let's give it a shot. This is a big moment. This is the moment of truth. This determines whether or not I have to buy probably an entire new motherboard. Okay. Right, I forgot I need to press the power button. It didn't work. It turned off right away. Fuck! Here's where we're at. I still want to pull the motherboard out to see if, I don't know, if there's a short or anything else going on behind it, or it's probably dead though. All I can do is just pray, hope that only the motherboard is fucked and not the CPU, not my RAM or anything else. My forearms are going to be shredded by the end of this. With this fluid, I think they recommend cleaning it every year. You can wait up to 2, which I did, and then I waited another 2 or 3 years after that. Now we're here and I'm finally cleaning it. So hopefully there's no buildup inside of the blocks.
Yeah, hopefully, because I didn't end up actually checking.
So last time I filled the system up with this guy. System reboot.
System reboot. Cleans your system out fast. Wait, isn't that Taco Bell slogan?
It's been running for a while. I actually was looking through my pictures recently, and I found a picture of all the parts before I started doing any building. Very few people know this, but this computer actually has a second secret purpose. Can you guess what it is? Wrong. Correct answer is toilet. I mean, it's white. It's got running water, and today the plan is to flush this shit.
System reboot. Makes flushing easy.
You can't compute anything right now, so it's not a computer. I mean, you can compute in it, but... Oh, that was bad.
So at this point, I had pretty much been only flushing the computer over the course of several days. It's a very time-consuming process, but thankfully I was finally done with that and ready to move on to taking the computer apart. I had ordered a refurbished motherboard off eBay and was just waiting on it to ship, but I figured I would test the old one out of the case one last time just to confirm that it was indeed truly fucked.
It's here. It's the correct motherboard. Hopefully it works. Sorry. Looks pretty good.
To make sure it was actually working, I swapped over the CPU and the RAM so I could try powering it up outside the case first.
Here we go. Oh, okay. It blinked. Oh, yeah. There were a few things I wanted to do with the case before I started putting the components back in, though. So I'm going to clean some of these ragged edges up and trim a little bit of sheet metal. As soon as that's done, we can hopefully get a working computer again. I just wanted to give a little closer look at what I'm actually doing. So these hemmed edges, this guy and this guy. This was all done with the motherboard in the case previously. So I kind of like snipped at it and like bent it rather than actually doing the right way. The reason I did this was to try and make the cables that laid back here lay down a bit flatter, because I was having issues with putting the side panel that goes here on. And then down here, you can see I've actually already marked it out, but I'm gonna cut a little bit more, and that's just for access. I can barely fit my hand into this space.
Hey, it's me from the future. This is what the cutouts look like with everything in the case. Awesome. Back to the past.
And now, this.
Anyway, the next thing is working on the acrylic window for the side panel. I traced the shape out using the panel itself, and then I'm using this straight edge as a cutting guide to make it much easier. But I only clamped one side of the table, which was a bit of a...
Oops. I was wondering why it smelled like wood.
A mistake. Good thing it's not mine.
Okay, so this is what the LED strip is supposed to look like. Here's the strip that I pulled out of the case. If you look closely, you'll notice that this strip is actually completely fucking torched. As far as I can tell, the only way this would have happened is overheating, which means it was just an isolated problem. If it was a wiring issue, then the other strip would have also been burnt like this. But just to make sure, I wired everything up in the case, and it doesn't seem like there's any leaking current, so it's just an isolated problem. So everything should be ready to start reassembling the case.
I'm not going to talk too much in this video about all the details of the modding and all the work that went into the computer before this point, but I do have footage from 7 years ago when I was doing all that stuff, and I might make it into another video. So if that's something that you'd like to see, let me know.
Oh, it's so beautiful. And it's not leaking. So I have a few things to fix back here. First thing is going to be this yellow wire you can see. That's actually my voltage in for all my lights. So it's the hot wire. And not only can you see, I mean, it's exposed above and below this zip tie, but it's also got a few promiscuous loose strands. And everyone knows that hot and promiscuous is a bad combination. I'm also going to be lengthening this wire, which is the one that goes to the fan connector. And then the last thing to fix is this connector. So I'm gonna need to fix that for my other cathode light to work. It's not even connected. I don't know why it was fucking working.
Using giant globs of solder is another great example of shitty wiring. So I'm going to replace them with these orange twist-on wire nuts, which are what you're actually supposed to use.
This is not very good solder, unfortunately. But, you know, poor workman blames his tools. It's not really flowing. It feels dirty. Or maybe it's the iron. Oh, I'm not using fucking flux. Oh, I'm such an idiot.
Flux just helps the solder stick and form a good connection with the wire.
Oh, look at that. It just flowed right in there. That's how it's supposed to work. All right, check this shit. Wait, what am I doing? I didn't put flux on this one. Look. Beautiful.
So that's all the wiring wrapped up.
Just to make sure that I didn't mess anything up. Looks like all the lights are on. Pump looks like it's going. All the fans are going. The red light behind the motherboard is on. And the cathode back here is on. So everything's working. So the last critical component is putting the power supply in. And then I've got to manage the mess of wires. To help me do that, I actually got this fat stack of zip ties. Was that cool? Was that funny? Okay. This is so close to being like done. Like not really like done, but like it looks done and it's all in one piece. The last thing I need to do to accomplish that is to take this acrylic panel and glue it into this metal panel. Just gonna put these on while we're waiting. So the glued in panel actually looks pretty good, but there's a problem. It's not really attached all the way. You can see the little clip in there. It needs to be really close in order for it to line up, and the acrylic is preventing that from happening. So I'm gonna need to punch it back out, cut, and then glue it again. Yeah, this is already like come off in two of the corners. Just to prove it is a working computer, I'll go ahead and turn it on. I mean, look at that. It almost looks good. It works. With the back panel, in order to get all the 8 connectors on the top and bottom, I need like 4 hands. So I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll leave the connectors on the bottom long, and then I'll shorten the 4 of these. Then what I can do is line up the bottom edge like I have here, and then I can kind of do 1, 2, 3, 4.
This time I used 5-minute epoxy to glue the window in place.
So here's what the tabs look like post-circumcision. The one on the right is the shortest. These 2 in the middle are a little bit clipped, but not quite as much. And the one on the left is pretty much the original length. It was literally impossible to get this on before, but now it is possible. I do need both of my hands though. So and kind of go across the top like this. I can't really see what I'm doing, but oh yeah, okay, bam, there you go, I got it. So if we go over here to the front now, you'll see I've got the front panel on. So this is the first time this case has actually been completely closed off. I was running it in open air for about 3 years because I couldn't get the back panel on, and the front panel didn't have the window. And oh, there you go. See, you can see the reflection of my leg in the window. Wow, what a random and unplanned moment. That's so quirky.
So it's been a while since I recorded last time, over a year ago. A lot has happened since then. I edited and released my last video. I started streaming on Twitch and made a little physics platforming demo that you can try in your browser right now.
Oh, you got it! Wow, that was nasty.
I quit my job so I could work on all that stuff full time, and I moved twice. But you know what hasn't changed? My computer. It's been the same for the past year, and I'm sick of it. So today the plan is to just knock out all the last little final details.
Starting first with an anti-sag bracket to hold my graphics card more level. To support the card better and also to avoid covering the MSI badge, I bent this little bracket attachment out. And the finished result looks great. Makes a big difference. The card is so much more flat than it was before. Next is fixing my lights. I had to replace this connector from earlier. I already went about it the wrong way. You're supposed to just clamp the wire to a connector and then it slots in. That's what the left side looks like.
The right side, I soldered it to the connector, and then the black stuff is like epoxy that I tried to use to hold it in place. So, unsurprisingly, doing it in a shitty way didn't work and it didn't last. So I'm gonna need to fix that for my other cathode light to work.
And there we go. It works. I also had to replace the LED strip that shorted, so I spliced a new one in and used a few layers of paper to diffuse the individual lights a bit. I also added a shiny new M.O.O.N SSD. I 3D printed some cable combs to tighten up the aesthetic of the graphics card power. And I used more of this stuff to fill the system up all the way. Last, but most, I guess, I overclocked the CPU and the graphics card, because that's like the whole point of having a custom water cooling loop. So after a ton of stability testing, this is what I ended up with. Much better.
And here we are, finally at the end of this journey. So without any further ado, the final montage.
Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, leave a comment, and check out the links in the description. The more people who do those things, the more cool videos I can make, and I really appreciate it.
Alright, enough looking at it. It's time for the true test. Let's find out how well this bad boy games. Join me next time when I start work on 3POC.